from Americans for Prosperity, along with Howard, who provided the meals for tonight. And this is
all right, guys. So, for you guys up front, who's excited that you made it? You guys excited? Yeah, oh, that was good. Yeah! Who is excited? I'm still not super impressed. One more time, all right, ready? Who's excited? 3, 2, 1, who's excited? All right, okay, you guys can do better. Anyways, today's sponsored message from the Americans for Prosperity Foundation. I am an employee of AFPF, and my role there is Community Engagement Director. And so basically, I go and find people like Catherine and Deborah and lovely folks like you to bring food to, but also to educate, right? We're here in the community, we're here 24/7, and our mission is to break down barriers in society. That's internal, external, that's educational classes, that's things like policy on the Hill in Washington, D.C., and here in our state capitol. Thank you, kids, for coming up. You're going to learn a whole bunch of things. Brittany is my business partner on the side because I run a business with her, and she's absolutely phenomenal. But to each of you, right? You guys are trying to figure out who knows what they want to do when they grow up. You know, you got that question? Okay, we got a couple, right? But if you're like me, I was confused, right? I was like, hey, what skills do I have? Right? Where do I bring value? Okay, where am I gonna end up working? Am I gonna work, right? Is it gonna be a tech job? Am I gonna be an electrician? What does that look like? That's hard, right? Is it kind of hard to figure out what you want to do? Isn't that kind of like a big thing? And she's like, you got this. What do you want to do?
Forest ranger.
Forest ranger? Oh, what made you figure that out?
I like the forest.
He likes the forest. He goes to forest school. That's pretty great. What about one other person? What's difficult about trying to figure out what your skills are and who you were made to be?
Trying to narrow it down.
Yeah, right. Because there's so many things that you can do. I was just talking to a friend in the car, right? If you had a bunch of great if you had only one great option out of like a bunch of bad options, right? That's pretty easy. It's fine. Find the one that's good and go for it. But a lot of times in life, right? You guys have a lot of good things. They're going to pick who to do that. And so for you guys are our next generation. You guys have an opportunity to impact Colorado, right? You have an opportunity to make a difference right here. I was talking to the president of ANP yesterday, and he said in the next 10 years you have Texas, you have New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Nevada, right? They called it kind of the Sun Belt, basically. And the country follows us, right? Their data, they do a whole bunch of things. A lot of smarter people than I do a whole bunch of things. They said the way that Colorado looks in the next 10 years, this nation is going to follow us. The rest of the nation is going to follow us. So you guys have that opportunity as our next generation in the next 10 years to say, where are we going to go as Colorado? Are we going to be a prosperous society? Are we going to be one where people can come and business can thrive? Or the option that we're looking at right now is California. Highest tax rates, highest levels of poverty, highest levels of gas prices and utility bills. Like, that's where we're headed. So you guys have a huge difference to make, and Brittany's going to help you find that. And so, without further ado, Brittany. Woo!
sorry. Right before Brittany, which, sorry. So I'm actually going to have Lori Guitar come up. She's an academic activist, and she is our community spotlight for tonight. I spaced it, my bad. So just gonna switch the rotation here a little bit.
I'll make it quick because I don't want to get in Brittany's way. But my name is Lori Guitar. I've been in education forever, and it's my passion and my heart. I have a tutoring company called Academic Advocates, and we're going to do some work with both Catherine and Deborah. We have some really cool stuff coming up this summer. I left some flyers in the back. One, which kind of ties into what you're doing tonight. One is a entrepreneurship camp. We have a session for 3rd to 5th grade, and then we also have a session for 6th through 12th. So I'll have that back there for you if you're interested in learning how to have your own business and doing some hands-on, really cool stuff in camps. The other camp that we're going to do this summer is an online or live writing camp, where you can work together with us to publish a book. And so at the end of the 8-week session, you'll get your own book that we write together. So I thought that was a really cool, fun thing that might keep the summer skills going. And we might do some small group tutoring if there's a need to kind of keep skills going in reading and math, and we have some one-on-one tutoring. So we'll definitely be around in the focus group next time, but in the meantime, we're going to try to support all the work you guys have already been doing. So thanks for giving me a few minutes, and now, this crazy, wonderful lady.
Thank you. All right, thank you guys. I'm excited to be back. I know I saw a few of you last week, so that's exciting. So my name is Brittany, and I know Josh asked you a minute ago, like, who knows what they want to do with their life, and there were several of you guys who knew. How many of you guys have no idea what you want to do with your life? You're still waiting to figure it out? A few of us? Yeah, all the adults, right? Like, I thought I knew, but no longer. Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys up here all have awesome ideas. So we're going to talk today about how do you translate your ideas into reality, right? Because we can all have ideas. I'm sure your parents can relate to this. If they haven't shared with you already, they probably have had some ideas in their lives that maybe didn't work out quite the way they expected. But it doesn't have to be that way, all right? So I'm very excited to talk to you guys, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna answer some crazy questions. This is definitely not me up here talking, so you guys have to engage, all right? You good with that? All right, so we're gonna start off with one of the crazy questions, just for fun. If you were a superhero, what would you be? Which superhero would you be, and why? Yes?
Flash, because I like to be fast.
Flash, because you like to be fast.
Ghost Rider because he hunts down spirits.
Ghost Rider because he hunts down spirits. Superman or Supergirl? Why? Because they're super. I love that answer. Who wants to be super? All right, engage, guys. None of you want to be super over here? You're going for the lame, like, chill. Okay, cool. I appreciate that honesty. All right, what do you want to be?
Magneto.
Who is it?
Magneto.
I don't know that superhero. Who is Magneto?
He's a villain.
Oh, you're going to be the villain. Sorry, I missed it. So why, other than villain?
Because I can move things with my mind.
Move things with your mind. I like it. All right, the chill table here still has to engage. So, superhero. You got this. Yeah. Think about it. I'll come back to you. All right. Who else? Superhero?
Why would he have to choose a superhero?
What would you choose instead of a superhero?
I choose a magician.
A magician. Why would you choose a magician?
I like studying magic.
You like studying magic. What do you like about it?
It's engaging, fun, and powerful.
It is engaging, fun, and powerful. I like that. I think you could connect with Magneto over here. Engaging, fun, and powerful. Is that who you want to be?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Anyone else? If you were a superhero, yes.
Black Widow.
Black Widow, because?
She doesn't have superpowers, she's just awesome.
She doesn't have superpowers, she's just awesome. Black Widow is actually mine as well, so I like that. All right, did you think of one? I believe in you. Let's see, what superhero movie have you seen lately? What superhero movie have you seen recently? Loki? All right, I got an answer. Appreciate it. All right, so, which one? Captain America because? He's cool. All right, I love these answers. And patriotic. Fantastic. All right, so I didn't get to hear everything when Josh asked, but we're going to switch the question up and go back to his question. So I love the superhero thing because it tells me what's important to you. All right, some of you said because he's cool, because he's patriotic, because they're awesome, because it's powerful, right? All of those are things that are important in your life. So now, tell me, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? Yes?
I want to be in the NFL.
In the NFL? That's amazing, and why?
I love football.
Because you love football, that's fantastic.
A lawyer.
A lawyer? Because? To help people, I love that. Yes?
I want to be a doctor.
That's amazing, a social worker. Why?
I don't know, just like connecting with people and helping them.
Connecting with people and helping them. I love it. How about over here? Yes.
I want to be a game designer.
You want to be a what?
Game programmer.
A game programmer. Will you incorporate your magic into that? Okay, fantastic. All right, yes.
The MBA when I actually get taller.
When you actually get taller, I like it. Be in the MBA, yes.
Teacher.
A teacher because?
Because every strong leader, whether it be the president of the United States or a preacher or anybody, started out with a teacher.
Strong leaders start out as teachers. I love that. Yes.
An engineer because things don't make
An engineer because things don't make
themselves.
themselves. That is fantastic. I love that. All right, how about this table? What do you guys want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a NICU nurse.
A NICU nurse. That's amazing. Why?
I have a passion for kids.
A passion for kids. Love that. All right, so here's going to be our first thing of the night. No matter what you're doing, right? Whether you're writing a resume, interviewing for a job, thinking about your future, trying to figure out what things you need to learn in school or what classes to sign up for this fall. Do you notice every single time you guys gave an answer, I asked you a question. What was the question?
Why?
Why? All right, if you don't know what your why is, number one, you're probably not going to get very far, right? So if I said, hey, let's go to drive as soon as we're done here, and we're just going to drive 3 hours up into the mountains, what would you guys want to know? Why? Exactly. And you don't know me very well, and it'd be pretty creepy and weird if I tried to convince you to go somewhere with me at this point, right? So I'm not going to do that, but that's an important question. So when you're getting started in anything in life, it's so important to ask the question why. Now there's another question that's really important to ask. So if I said we're going to a drive in the mountains, what else would you want to know? Where? That's right. Why do we need to know where we're going?
Because we want to know how high of an altitude and what lives there.
We want to know how high the altitude is and what lives there. I think that is a great answer. That is so true. So we not only need to know why we're doing something, but we need to know where we're going, right? And what grade are some of you guys in school? Just throw it out. Freshman? 7th, 5th? Senior? All right, so yes. 8th, very cool. So we've got a range here, right? At this point, it's pretty easy. Like, you know what you have to do, right? You get up most days, you go to school, you come home, you do your homework. Summer's coming soon and you're all excited for summer break, right? Yes? Come on, are we excited for summer break? Yes, all right, thank you. So that's great, you know what you have to do, but why are you doing it and where is it getting you? And you guys just gave me some awesome things that you want to do with the rest of your life, which is fantastic. But you have to keep those things in front of you, because if you wake up one day and suddenly you don't have a plan, you don't know why it's important, and you don't know where you're going, how successful do you think you're going to be?
Not very successful.
Not very successful at all. Unless you happen to be lucky, yes. You know how some very important smart person whose name I forgot described luck? Hard work. 9 times out of 10. Josh mentioned that he and I run a business together. We've been, I've been working on building a business in some capacity for 3 years or so now, and it's working, but it works slower than you might think. It's easy to look at people and be like, oh man, they just got lucky, they got there, but I guarantee you, if you look at what happened in their life in the 3 years or 5 years or 10 years leading up to that, that they worked really, really, really hard for that thing. Sometimes there's a little bit of luck thrown in, but if you just laid in your bed and played video games, how lucky do you think you're gonna get? Probably not very, let's be real. All right, so we're going to specifically talk about applying your why and your where to building a resume. Now, why is a resume important? Nobody's really sure. All right, let me ask, how many of you guys have jobs? Anyone here have a job? Kind of, yeah? Okay, what's your job?
Game designer.
Game designer, awesome. How do you do that?
Get a computer, type 10 hours a day.
Cool, all right. And what about you? Babysitting, all right. Do we have any babysitters in here? Anyone else who's done that before? Okay. Anyone done any yard work for their neighbors? All right, see, that's a job. I like that. Yeah, okay. You've had work. Anyone maybe volunteered for something at your church or at school? Okay. You guys have had a lot more jobs than you realize. You were going to answer my question earlier. Do you remember what you were going to say?
Oh, the resume? It has a list of all your skills and abilities, things that you've done before.
Yes, so a resume has a list of your skills and abilities and things you've done before. I love it. And what I just heard when I said, who here has a job, like almost nobody raised your hand. We had 2 of you who were like, kind of. But when I asked some of those other questions, almost everybody here had their hand up, right? So that's where we're going to start, is realizing that you guys have way more experience than you've probably ever thought of or realized, right? How many of you have ever been in a leadership position at school? All right, okay, that's amazing. How many of you ever worked on a project, a group project in school? Perfect, just about everybody. How many of you have younger brothers or sisters? All right, cool. You guys have so much experience. You just didn't know it yet. So we're going to take some time and brainstorm what that experience is. And we're going to talk about it in the context of a resume, but the big picture idea here is always going to go back to why and where, right? So we're going to talk about why are these skills and talents and things important to you? How can you apply them? Where is it going to get you? And you can use those same 2 questions in any other area of your life, right? Not just building a resume, but in school, in interviewing, in being a part of your family, in interacting with coworkers at a job. Those 2 questions, why and where, are going to get you really, really far. All right? Okay. So we all have this handy dandy worksheet that we handed out. I'm going to walk you through it. Step 1, page 1, is this one that says writing a resume right at the top. And this is going to ask you to identify the values that are important to you. Now, if anyone was here last week, we talked about values, and for the adults, we did like a big brainstorm. This gives you a specific list. So go down and check the things that are important to you. But as you're going, if you think of anything else that's not on the list, write it on the bottom. All right? So these are the things that are important to you. Hey. All right, who's done with their list? Okay, we'll give it another minute or so. If you finished your list, go ahead and circle the 3 that are most important to you. You got this. I believe in you. All right, who wants to share those top 3? Did you get your top 3? Can you share what you put down? team player,
Challenges,
challenges,
detail work.
and detail work. Ooh, team player, challenges, and detail work. That's awesome. Yes.
Challenges, detail work, and hours on job.
Challenges, detail work, and hours on job. You guys should work together. Yes.
Challenges, creativity, and fresh air.
Challenges, creativity, and fresh air. All right. I cannot tell you how important it is to know that fresh air is a value to you in a job. Do you know how many people get a job and find themselves in a cube or at a desk and they are going crazy within a few weeks? So that's important to know in advance. Yes.
Interacting with the public, contribution to society, and independence.
Okay. Interacting with the public, contributions to society, and independence. Awesome. Yes.
Contribution to society, independence, and input.
Contributions to society, independence, and input. I love it. Did you have one?
Physical labor, detail work, and challenges.
Physical labor, detail work, and challenges. That's awesome. All right, how about this table back here? What are you guys ending up with some of your top three?
Growth potential, so learning to move up in ranks, learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Independence, travel, and salary.
Okay, growth potential, independence, travel, salary. Those are awesome. Who else wants to share? Miss anybody? All right. So I bet you can guess, if you think really, really hard, one of the questions I'm going to ask you about your values. What do you think the question is? Why? All right. So take a minute and by your top 3 values, write down why that's important to you. All right, who wants to share their why? Any why will do, yes.
One of my top 3 are contribution to society, because I want to have a job that has fulfillment.
Contribution to society because you want fulfillment. I love that. So in a minute, we're going to apply this list of values to your core values. And I think what you just said there about fulfillment is probably a core value, right? You want to contribute, you want to do something meaningful, but the reason is because you want to be fulfilled. All right, what else? Yes.
For being a team player, because I have a lot of friends.
A lot of friends. So community or connection might be really important to you. Why do you like hanging out with your friends and having a lot of friends? They're fun. All right. So fun can definitely be a value, right? Or we could talk about things related to fun. Is it laughter? Is it connection with people? Is it having a good sense of humor? There's a lot of reasons that fun might be important and be a value. What else? Do you have something? No? Okay. Do you? Yeah. All right.
I said I want to be able to help the public and be able to take care of myself in the lives.
Okay. Being able to help. What was it?
Just working with the community.
Working with the community and connection. I love it. Perfect. Anyone else over here?
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know.
Most of mine is just based on games.
Okay. What is your why behind why you love games?
Because I've been coding for 5 years and I want user input and I want a job that will and be well known.
Okay.
If I work with a company that does games instead of games, I'll be well known.
Okay, so being well known is important to you. That's cool. All right, anyone else? Okay, so go ahead and flip your paper over. And this says to do, write down your top 5 values. We just did 3, so if you just want to jot down 3, that's great. And then feel free to go back and look at the ones that you didn't circle and write down at least 3 of those, the things that you did not enjoy. How many of you, without thinking hard, can think of something you do not like doing? We can admit it. All right, Mine is laundry. I hate laundry. Anyone else with me? Parents? Anyone else hate laundry? It's not my thing. Not my thing. Though I will say laundry is a little bit better than vacuuming. Yeah, you with me on vacuuming? All right, so here's the thing. When you're talking about why and where, it's very forward focused, right? So most of the time, it's really important to look towards the future because that's where we want to be headed, right? If we're always looking at the past, where do you think we're going to end up? Right where you are? You're probably going to end up stuck. However, there can be some times when it's valuable to not get stuck, but to intentionally stop and look back or look around and say, hey, what can I learn from my situation right now, right? So if we take a minute to stop and learn from where we are right now, what do you guys notice about your life that you really don't enjoy? Yes.
Desk jobs.
Desk jobs. And why would you hate a desk job?
Because I hate just sitting down.
You hate sitting still. All right. Yes.
Working under stress because I get stressed.
Okay, you don't like working under stress. That's important to know. Some people do great working under stress, and there are whole jobs designed that are based on like reacting to things that are thrown your way. You would not enjoy that job. So it's good to know that right now. All right, who else? Yes. What's that? Latin? That is impressive that you're even doing Latin. I have much respect for you, but what do you not like about that? Okay, so you don't like boring things. That's understandable. All right, who else? Yes. What is it? You also don't like Latin. Man, how many people are taking Latin here? Dang, I am impressed. That I am sure will serve you well at some point. I also did take Latin for like a year, and it is helpful. What? Yes. Are you just, what? 4 years. Holy moly. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying you guys are all way more impressive than I am. So I did only 1 year of Latin. But it is relatively helpful sometimes when I come across a word I don't know. So it'll be useful at some point. All right. Guys, I'm sure your parents hear almost every day something you don't like. Okay, yep, there's a hand. What were you thinking?
Doing chores.
Doing chores, all right, yes. Homework. All right, are we getting some amens here? People are agreeing, all right. How many of you just can't stand school? All right, so what is the question I'm gonna ask? Why? So tell me the why. It's what? It's boring. Okay, what's boring? What is boring? Learning, okay. Yes?
I don't get to choose what I want to learn.
You don't get to choose what you want to learn, all right? Anyone else? Yes? Homework, and why don't you like homework?
Because it takes time out of your day.
It takes time out of your day. What would you rather be doing?
Biking or building Lego.
Biking or building Legos. Okay, yes? There's more important things to learn. What would you learn if you could choose? How to do taxes. Cool. I agree. I believe that there needs to be an how to adult class that we all take before we graduate high school. Yes?
I think that homework is important to do because it helps you learn, but I don't think that it's necessarily the best thing.
Okay. So homework's important because there's things to learn, but maybe not quite so much. All right. Who else has things in your life you don't like? Now we're getting honest. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Tests? Why don't you like tests?
Because you have to study.
Because you have to study, and why don't you like to study?
Because it's just boring.
Because it's boring. All right. Keep asking yourself why, but there's something even deeper there. Yes?
I don't like tests because you learn it, you study for it, you take the test, and then you forget it.
Ah, so you don't like forgetting things and learning things that you don't get to remember and apply. That's interesting. Yes?
I hate chemistry.
Okay, why do you hate chemistry?
Because I don't, kind of similar to what you said, I don't really get to learn the way that I want to learn. We have a video program that we watch, and I do better when it's like when I have an actual teacher.
One-on-one or with an actual teacher. Okay, yes.
I wanted to add to the test thing because there's a lot of tests where it's just like cumulative, and it's really hard to have a cumulative test. Like with math, they have a math book where it keeps having everything inside of it, but with science and history and stuff like that, they make you learn one unit and then you trash it out after you have to start the next unit. And so when you get to midterms or like finals, then you like have to remember all of it from the beginning of the year.
Yep. Those can be challenges. Guys, I'm resonating. I remember having to read, one of my textbooks and getting like a paragraph of information on something that was really super interesting and then like 6 pages on something I couldn't care anything about. And I'm like, why don't I get to learn about that thing, right? You guys have had that experience. All right, so anyone else? This is a great vent session. I'm not offended. Anyone else want to get anything off their chest? Things you hate? Yes. Okay, you hate tests because of the stress. Back to stress, yes.
I hate grades.
Grades, why do you hate grades?
Because a number should not determine how smart you are.
A number should not determine how smart you are. Guys, so here's the cool thing. Like, your parents are probably like, what is she doing? It's okay, I'm gonna bring it home in a minute. But here's the cool thing. Josh talked about how each one of you get to be leaders, and I am convinced that there are better ways to learn, there are better ways to engage with yourself and with the people around you. And if you want to decide why these things are important to you and where you want to go, you can make a difference. So maybe in 20 years, your kids won't have to do the same grades and tests and all the things that drive you crazy, right? So just a thought, plugging that for later. Is there someone else over here? All right, anyone else? Yes.
Finals.
Finals, all right, back to tests. Why don't you like finals?
Because you gotta sit in the classroom for like so long. You gotta study for hours on end just for something that's only like 1 hour long. Doesn't make that much sense.
All right, yes.
I hate that. Okay, back to the testing thing, because with tests, I prefer quizzes, because with quizzes, it lets the teacher know what you're learning and what you're not learning.
Okay.
But the tests aren't that way. And so that being said, I hate the ACT test.
Hate the ACT, all right. That's fair, yes.
I hate people that discourage you and treat you like you're not a person.
People that discourage you and what?
And treat you like you're not a person.
Treat you like you're not a person. That is definitely not cool. So here's the thing, because we just had several minutes. Hopefully it was a little relieving. Hopefully you got to relieve some stress, right? You just got it all out here. You don't have to go home and vent to your parents tonight. But again, why did we just do that, right? Why did I bring you all here to talk about the future and talk about resumes and then say what are the things you dislike? What do you think? Yes? Not sure? Okay. Yes?
You can avoid which job maybe includes those things.
Yes. So being able to avoid jobs that you're going to hate or dislike is important. There's a little bit bigger reason though. If we go a level deeper, why do you think it's valuable to think about the things we don't like or value? Yes. So you can enjoy what you do and don't have to hate it for the rest of your lives. Yes, I love it. One of you guys?
I was going to say, it also gives you what to not look for that you don't want to.
Yes. So here's the thing. Sometimes it can be really easy to say, this is where I'm going and this is why it's important to me, right? Sometimes it's right at the top of your head and you know it's important. Sometimes you might have 2 options that are really, really great. And they both fit where you want to go and why it's important to you. So what do you do then? How do you decide between 2 great options? Or let's say that maybe you forget your why for a little bit, which happens. Life happens sometimes, and you're not quite sure why you decided this job was the most awesome thing since sliced bread, right? So sometimes we can look at where we're at and look in the past to say, hey, I can learn from those experiences and do something different in the future. How many of you guys would like to do something different than what you've been doing all your lives so far? Hopefully there's not too many people who want to stay in school their whole lives. Yeah, some of you in the back, I see you. And I know I've been focused way up here, but just parents, like, please take all of this for yourself, because I'm a big believer that if we're not waking up every day loving the life we live and the work that we get to do, then we're missing our calling, and that we can figure it out. So it's exciting to talk to you guys because you have the opportunity to start thinking that way right now, right? So actually, let me tell you a story, because all through high school, all through college, even the first few years after college, I was like, I know what I want to do. I want to change the world. I want to work with people. I want to help other people figure out their life and their passion. And then there came a point where I got to do a lot of really awesome things, but they didn't feel that awesome. I bought a house. That's exciting, right? Well, now I had a mortgage payment. And I got a job where I worked remote. Who does not want to work remote? Like, that's amazing, right? But I was in my house by myself all day, every day. And I was doing all these great things, or things that other people said were great. And about 3 months in, as I'm sitting in my house, working by myself at home, I was like, where did I go wrong? Now, the reality is I hadn't gone wrong. I had just forgotten where I was going and why I was headed there. Right? Because I got distracted by paying my mortgage and working at home every day so I could pay my mortgage, so I could wake up and work so I could pay my mortgage. It just got kind of like in this big loop, right? So when those moments happen, and they will, it's okay, it doesn't mean you lost your way, what questions do we go back to? Why and where? Absolutely. And the other questions you can go back to is to say, hey, we just kind of vented about things we don't like. Sometimes you just need to vent. You need to get things off your chest. But the important question to ask is, what did I learn from that? What did I learn about the tests that I hate? Or what did I learn about the classes that I don't like? Or what do I learn from doing chores that I can apply moving forward? Now, this doesn't mean, unfortunately, that I can get away with never doing laundry. I wish it did, right? So sometimes there's going to be the things we have to do that we don't love. But if you're asking yourself those questions, where am I headed? Why is it important? And what have I learned from where I've been? Then you can hopefully limit the things that you hate to a relatively small portion, and you get to spend the majority of your time doing things you love. Who likes the sound of that? Nobody likes the sound of that? Okay. All right, so thank you guys for going there with me. So here we're going to take this to the next level. So the second half of this page is going to talk about things, just a whole bunch of things, right? Now these are all they're very job-based, right? However, you can apply this same concept to anything you do in life, right? We're just talking about how to do it for resumes. So go ahead and take a couple minutes. If it's something that you enjoy, you're going to write an A by it. If it's something that you do not enjoy, which we just talked a lot about, put a B. And if it's something that you haven't done yet but you wish you had, put a C. All right? A is that you enjoy a lot, B you don't enjoy at all, and C, something that you wish that you had done or could do. Does this feel too much like a test for anyone? If so, I'm sorry. All right, hopefully we're close to being done. If you're not, feel free to continue. But all right, so I'm curious, right? Because we're talking about how do we use these questions and the things that we've already done and the skills we have to find a direction and a job that we would enjoy, right? So I'm curious, who here enjoys like theater or drama? Aha, got some drama people, love it. Who here enjoys using computers? Yeah, I knew you would raise your hand. Awesome. How many of you guys use computers all day, every day, even if you don't love it? Yeah, so we're all pretty good at that. How many people like teaching or helping? All right, awesome. How about, which of you guys have a good sense of humor? Yeah, I can tell just being in this room with some of you. All right, who likes organizing? Okay. Do you know all of those things are skills that you could put on a resume to apply for a job? Do you know that? If you didn't know that, that's why we're doing this, right? So how about some of these things that you haven't done yet, but that you maybe wish you would be able to? Anyone want to share? Yes? Making decisions, all right, cool. Anyone? Yes?
Never been on a survival trip before.
A trip, yes. That'd be awesome. Like an outdoor adventure survival thing. Very cool. Anyone else? Haven't gotten to hear from this table for a while. Slash it all. You're like, there's a reason we weren't talking. What are some things that you hope you get to do someday? Things that you put a seat by.
Probably have an athletic ability.
Having an athletic ability, okay, cool. I appreciate that. Sometimes I go on a hike and I'm like, why? I like it, I'm just not great at it. All right, sounds good. Okay, so we're going to now thinking about all these things, right? We spent time saying that these are the things that you want to have in a job. These are the things that you've done or enjoy doing or maybe want to do. So we're going to take all of those concepts and we're going to do something that's not on the paper for a minute. Let's talk about work experience that you've actually had. All right? Now this is fun because I get to help you guys all think outside the box, right? Because at the beginning, there were like 2 people who said, I've kind of sort of had a job. But when I asked you some other questions, almost everyone raised their hand. So if we're thinking outside the box, this isn't necessarily work you've gotten paid for or work that you've gotten paid for consistently. It could be something you've done once. But if you think about any work you've done that aligns with one of the values or skills on these pages, what can you think of that you've done? Yes?
Clear out trails and stuff in the forest.
Clearing out trails in the forest. Awesome. Write that down. Yes?
I help teach at my school.
Help teach at your school. Awesome. What do you help teach?
Math for the younger kids. And then I taught at chapel and service before.
Okay. Awesome. So you've taught math and at chapel. That's incredible. How about you guys?
I used to be a waiter at a Korean restaurant.
Used to be a waiter at a Korean restaurant. That's very cool. All right. You look like you have something.
What?
Yeah. This. Yeah? So you're being called out, whoever you are. What's your job?
Landscaping.
Landscaping, very cool. What do you do for landscaping?
The other one.
Oh.
You played worship at our church.
Ah, worship at church. Who has ever done anything at a church? Okay. Hey. Start throwing out some of those. What have you done at church? Helped with VBS? Also helped with VBS. Anyone else? Anyone else on a worship team? Yeah, okay, cool. What about you?
They have fundraisers like frequently.
Fundraisers. Oh my gosh. Do you know how many job skills you learned through fundraising? So many job skills. That's amazing. All right. What else? I love all of this. Like okay, again, we talked about babysitting earlier. Who's babysat before? Who has a younger sibling that you've ever watched before? Okay, there we go. Right? We're thinking outside the box. Okay. What else? Yes.
I have input, having influence.
Yeah.
I work with my dad.
Okay.
He has a drywall company, and I just go work with him.
Very cool. You go work with your dad at the drywall company. Okay, that's not me. I didn't know what was happening.
Captain A.M. Buford, come to the front desk, please. Captain A.M. Buford to the front desk.
All right. nobody in here apparently. What else? What other jobs or experience back here? You've done nothing in your life? Nope. Solid. Yeah. You're like, I want to keep it that way. All right, what?
I helped in VBS.
Also helped in VBS, love it. Let's think, yes.
Yard work and gold panning.
Yard work and gold panning? That's awesome. Where did you do that?
My dad.
Up in the mountains, that's super cool. All right, let's go the yard work direction for a little bit. Who's ever done that? Or anything related to that? Okay, see, look, you guys have so much experience, right? So here's the thing, if you went to interview for a job and they were like, well, tell me about your work experience, and you were like, I haven't ever had a job. First of all, it would not be true, because every single one of you just told me something amazing that you've done. And number two, it's probably gonna be a little bit harder to get the jobs you really want, right? All right, so, goodness, there's a lot of ways we could go. Let's go to the last page, and then I'm gonna ask for a couple brave volunteers to come up, and we're going to role play what it would be like to put together an amazing resume. But go ahead, this second to last section is a project worksheet. If you have ever been involved in a project in school, who has been involved in a project in school? And everybody raises their hands, even you. I know it's happened. You might not have done anything, but you were on the project, right? All right. Okay, so go ahead and write down all the details, right? What was the class? What was the project? What was your role? How did you contribute? What did you learn? If you have done more than one, or you've done this many times, write down as many as you could think of. Yes? Writing papers can definitely count, yes. You can also, for this, if possible, I would recommend any group project you've worked on, right? Because that demonstrates your ability to work well in a team. But you can, if you don't have any of those yet, you could do something small like writing a paper, definitely. What are you thinking? You don't know? Have you ever worked with a group in school?
No.
No? You haven't?
He hasn't.
He hasn't? Okay. Have you ever had like a big assignment due?
No. He hasn't.
What makes you say that?
Because I know what he goes to do.
Okay. Well, what about yours? You answer yours. If you absolutely cannot think of a school project because it is the end of the day and it's almost Friday and it's almost summer and you're not thinking about school at all, then think about another project, okay? Church project, family project, volunteer project, anything will do. Yes. If you don't remember all the details, like the final grade, that's okay. We're just kind of getting a big picture snapshot of what you've done. All right, anyone have a project they're particularly proud of that you want to share about? Yes.
I made a trebuchet out of cardboard.
You made a trebuchet out of cardboard. That's awesome. What did you do with it?
Shot it and team won.
That's awesome. What was the team for?
It was a program our school wanted me to do.
Okay, program at school and your team won. That's awesome. Who else has a proud project? Yes.
Me and my friend did an antique shop for a business fair.
An antique shop for a business fair. That's super fun. How did it go?
It was pretty bad. We spent more than we profit, but you know, we learned some things.
What did you learn in the process?
Not to spend a bunch of money on Amazon, getting excited over the project, and then also how to budget.
Love it. How not to spend money and how to budget. And see, this is great because, again, if we talk about where are we headed, why are we headed there, and then look back to see what we've learned, we can learn some amazing things from the past. right? So not just because something looks like a failure, because we didn't succeed in the way we wanted to, doesn't mean that it's not still going to serve us well in our future. Yes?
My debate class and we're doing a mock trial campaign. We're almost finished, and we're learning how to work on a team and think on things with a logical mindset.
That's amazing. So mock trial on your debate team. That's fantastic. Yes?
We have to create a poster for physics about we call it the exploding potatoes.
What is it? The
We call it the exploding potatoes.
Exploding Potatoes Project. That sounds fun. I love potatoes. Side note, irrelevant to anything we're discussing here, but I like that idea. All right. What is something you've done that you're proud of? I'm looking at you. Okay, American History Project that what?
Holocaust.
On the Holocaust. Wow. What was the biggest thing you learned?
That there's a lot of I think Auschwitz, there's like a 1.2 to 1.4 million Jews killed by themselves. Learning some things about going through the transition.
Yeah, learned about where we've been, right? As a society and culture and how to not get there again. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yes? What was the project? A stage project? Very cool. What was the biggest thing you learned?
I did like in Utah, and I learned a lot of new things.
Okay.
I learned that there's a lot of good places to see there.
A lot of cool places to see in Utah. I have been to Utah. Have you been? Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Who's been to Utah? Side note. Cool. That's awesome. All right, anyone else want to share their awesome project that they're proud of? Yes.
Right now I'm working on a science project about the slime and kind of see if it's testable.
Ooh, that's awesome. I can tell you have the engineering mind already. That's great. Yes.
So I also did an American History project, and I did one where it's related to Jews too. It's Dr. Mengele about
Okay.
how he was experimenting on Jews, and not only does the Holocaust involve being 6 million Jews being killed, but they were also experimented on, which I did not know. So that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely learned a lot. It's what?
It's pretty sad.
Yeah, so some of these really great projects and work that you did, but really sad topics. And here's what's interesting. This is a tangent, but my major included a lot of history in college. And what's interesting is not just, there's those really, really bad people out there, right, who do some awful things. Unfortunately, guys, it's a lot of the people like you and I who didn't say anything that really allowed it to happen. And that's why it's so important to come. It's so awesome that you guys are here. It's so awesome that you guys are showing up in school and learning these things, even if the tests are horrible. It's important because it's important that we engage, right? If we just go through life and we disengage and we don't care about anything, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but that is a result of the whole society of people disengaging, right? And I don't believe you guys are those people. I believe you're the sort of people who want to make a difference in the world. Cool, thank you all for sharing. Those are amazing. All right, 2 volunteers. Who wants to, awesome, right here and here, aha. You went from I'm not gonna say anything to volunteering. All right, I'm gonna make this hard. You're gonna have to come up here. Yeah, you got this. I believe in you, come on. Bring your papers. All right, I've been just pointing at everybody, but what's your name?
Ryan.
Awesome, Ryan, and you are?
Olivia.
Olivia, okay, Ryan and Olivia. So of everything that you wrote on your paper, Ryan, what is the thing that you're most proud of?
I accomplished it in maybe an hour, and it came out really good.
Very cool. Are you saying this paper or the project?
The project.
The project, cool, sorry. Bigger picture question, of everything you filled out on the worksheet today, what are you most proud of?
I'm not sure.
Cool, take a minute to look. You can think about it. How about you, Olivia?
Probably just seeing how much it actually means to me, knowing now that I really want to contribute to society.
That's awesome. All right. So tell me, you have done some yard work, right, Ryan? Were you the one who's done some yard work?
Yeah.
All right. What else have you done?
Housework,
Housework. Awesome. Anything else?
a little bit of construction,
A little bit of construction. What does that involve?
building things.
Like what?
Did you help Josh on his battery on his car?
Well, I don't know if this counts as construction, but I helped my uncle fix his car.
Very cool. Helping your uncle fix his car. That's awesome. And what other like building type projects have you done?
I don't remember.
Did you say you built a trebuchet?
Yeah.
All right. And did you help lead that team?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. That's good. I can work with that. How about you, Olivia? Some things you've done.
Well, actually this morning, so I play the violin, and so this morning we had to do small groups for play tests, and I'm a first violin, so I had to lead the rest of the group, which was really hard.
That's amazing, though. So you got to be the first violin and lead the rest of the group. Very cool. What else have you done? You mentioned babysitting. What does that look like?
Really hard because they don't like to listen.
How old are they?
Well, this is actually my brother.
Okay.
My dad was laughing over there, saying that we were the ones to get chosen. But
Well, you raised some leaders. They both raised their hands.
13, 7, and 10. Yeah. So he's 13, and then I have a little brother who's 10, and then a little sister who's 7.
Very cool. And are you the oldest? Yeah, me too. High five. All right. Anything else you've done? Like project, group, volunteer?
Probably just random things that I've had to lead in school.
Okay. Very cool. And how old are you?
I am 14.
14. And you're 13? Okay. So here's what I just heard. And you guys, this is again thinking outside the box, right? Because if you think, what job have I had? You might go to write a resume and have nothing, right? And that feels a little discouraging, a little overwhelming trying to apply for jobs that are asking for a resume. And where do you even start, right? You guys are pretty young, but you've already had amazing experience. And so here's what I heard. Olivia, I heard that you're a group leader. So you can put down how you lead in music and in violin. You can talk about how you lead in school, the projects that you've led, some of the successes that you've seen as a result of that, and the skills that you've learned. And then you might want to check with your parents, because you always want to check with your employers on job titles, but I would say you could be like family assistant, could be a nice job title. How does that sound? But, oh, it's salesperson. Okay. What do you sell?
It's a variety of different things. So I am in an organization that's called AHG, and it's kind of like Girl Scouts only.
Yep,
It's
just
kinda
keep going.
like Girl Scouts, but more of a Christian focus. So we have been selling, well, we just recently sold candy bars.
Awesome.
Which sell really well.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so here's the thing, right? And someone mentioned fundraising earlier. When you're looking, so first of all, you're gonna figure out where you're headed, why it's important, and you're gonna look at the skills that you have. But then you have to make it sound good, right? But you just gave me so many experiences, and you're 14, right? So you've got years ahead of you to gain more experience. But group leader, salesperson, and family assistant, I'd say that sounds like a pretty good start to a resume. How does that sound to you? Sure. She's like, yeah, I don't know. So it's maybe a ways off, but when you go to apply for a job, that's how you want to be thinking about your experience, right? Not like, oh, I guess I volunteered and I babysit for my family sometimes, but you want to be thinking about how you can represent that in a way that's really true to the experience you've had, because the things you've done are pretty cool. All right, Ryan, so I'm gonna have to refresh. You've done lawn work, you've also been a team leader, right? So leading projects at school. So you could totally put on there, do you get paid for any of the yard work you do? Yeah? Do you go out and find business by yourself sometimes, like for the neighbors? Cool. So you're a business owner. Congratulations. That can definitely go on there. Business owner and team leader, like even if you're 13 and you've already got some pretty impressive titles on your resume. How does that feel? Good. Good. All right. Perfect. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Round of applause. All right, so thank you for letting me call you up, because I think it's so cool to see how your experience is so much bigger than you probably imagined, right? So as we had that little conversation up here, who had ideas on ways you can represent your experience more impressively, we'll say, on a resume? Anyone have an idea? Yes.
Friend. Okay, so at my church, he is an usher, and so he's worked with money. And so he was applying for a job at a bank, and because he put that on his resume, he got the job.
Nice, that he's worked with money being an usher at church. That's fantastic. All right, so take a minute and just in the white space on the bottom of the last page, go ahead and write down the top three or four experiences that, based on the conversation we've had so far, that you think could go on a resume. And then I'm going to ask a follow-up question, and everybody gets to answer. Yes?
I just want to mention, too, that you may not see it in yourself, so make sure to ask those around you, and they can
Yes.
help provide that.
Thank you very much. Let's actually, I intended to do that, so thank you for reminding me. Yeah, let's have about 3 or 4 minutes and talk to, like, at your table, like, get feedback from people. They're like, wait, I have to talk to people? It's fine, you've been whispering under your breath the whole time. I believe in you. Yeah, so write down your top 3 or 4 experiences, and then I'm gonna ask you to come up with a job title for some of those experiences, okay? So we won't take more than 5 minutes, but take a few minutes and write down those experiences, talk amongst yourselves, and come up with a job title for one or more of those experiences. So as a reminder, just with Ryan and Olivia, we had business owner, we had team leader, group leader, and family assistant. All right, what are you thinking? A helper, a friend, and a follower. I like it. What kind of helping have you done? Okay. So you could definitely put family helper, family assistant. Cool. I know, but see, you got to think creatively. How about you?
What? What?
What's your job title?
Oh, my job title? Businessman. Businessman.
Businessman, I like it. What about you?
I want to become a pilot, and to put on my resume, I do CAP, which gives me flying opportunities.
Nice.
It's so much better than ROTC.
What is your ranking, Cap?
I just started, so I'm right now an airman.
Airman? Okay.
Yeah, probably get a couple sergeant.
Very cool. So I would write down airman, right? Because that's what you would do. All right, so while you guys are brainstorming, I don't remember if this ended up on here. If not, I will find the website I can point you to. Actually, never mind. Just Google resume templates, and you will come up with 50,000 ways to write a resume. But there's a few key things you're going to need. And one of them, well, several of them, we've been brainstorming all night. So number 1, you're going to talk about your skills. What are the things you do really well? And then number 2, you're going to demonstrate your professional experience. Now, when I put together a resume, I always say professional experience, because that doesn't mean that I have to have been officially hired for a job or paid a certain amount of money. If you say job experience, that's kind of what they're assuming. But if you say professional experience, then any of the things that we've been talking about can go on there. All right? So, under professional experience, you want to have 2 to 3 job titles that describe what you've done. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to put something totally totally out there on your resume, right? So we came up with the term family assistant. You want to make sure that if you put that on a resume, that anyone that they go back to, aka your parents, are going to give you a good reference, right? And you want to make sure that you're not exaggerating the work you've done. But finding the best way to present the work you've done is not an exaggeration, all right? So that's what we're thinking of. We're thinking when we put together that resume and we say, here are 2 or 3 professional experiences I've had, we're going to come up with the title that you can use to describe that most effectively. Yes?
So, professionally, I have a question on that. So, at our school, one of our classes is orchestra, and we play a certain instrument. So, but our teachers are professionals. So, we have to take that every year that we go there, which is normally like 6 to 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Would that count as professional?
So the question is, would something like doing orchestra for 6 or 7 years count as professional experience? And you brought up that your teachers are professionals. So that might be a good conversation to have with your teacher and say, hey, you know my experience, you know what I've done, how would you represent this on a resume? And some things you might want to put under skills, right? You might want to say you have persistence. And when everything good? All right, I believe we can handle this. We got like 10-ish minutes left. I believe in us. But yeah, talk to your teachers or talk to people who know the experience you have and ask what they would say or how they would put that down on a resume. And if it's not like a clear job, then you might just translate it into skills. So you might say, I have persistence and commitment because I did orchestra for 7 years, right? So you could put those words on your resume and then have stories to share. If people's like, well, what do you mean by persistence? You could be like, well, let me tell you how long I have been in orchestra and what I learned in that experience, right? Awesome. All right. How are we doing with the job titles? Almost there? I'm going to ask every single one of you guys to give me a title. So if you don't have one, you should work on it. But I'm going to come start over here. I guess I can't go quite that far. All right, what did you end up with? Family helper. They work together. Awesome, you're colleagues. You could get a reference. All right, what about you? What's that? No idea? All right, keep thinking. We'll come back to you. What did you have?
A budgeter.
A budgeter. Okay, very cool. Babysitter, okay. So again, it's definitely not a bad thing to have on a resume, but depending on where you're going and why you want to head there, you might want to think of other ways to represent that, like family assistant or family helper. So we've got some good ones. What about you?
Instructor.
Instructor, what kind of instructor?
Musical, literary, mathematical.
Awesome, music, literary, and math. So you could divide that up. You could have 2 or 3 just on those and then put information below that. Or you could say an arts instructor for music and literature. How about you? Helper? What kind of helper? Oh, clean people's houses. So a house helper or housekeeper or house assistant. Awesome. How about you guys back here? In the red. Or in the black? What did you end up with?
I put down music helper and I put down voice actor for no reason.
Music helper and voice actor, okay. Wow. That's impressive. Very fun. How about you? Do you have any?
Kind of an artist, I guess.
Artist, okay, very cool. So if you have something like artist, who here has done art before? Awesome. So if that's something that you want to go into professionally, you could say these are the types of art that I've done. This is the number of works that I've done. Here's the people that have seen my art. There's all sorts of things you could put under that. All right, how about you?
Naturologist.
Naturologist. That is a fantastic job title. What does that mean for you?
Basically, I can learn more about nature and just learn what's new that's out there to explore.
Very, very cool. And I bet you could take all of the experience you have because you like to be outside and put that into a resume. All right, what about you? Helper, all right. A what?
I need family helper.
Family helper, awesome, love it. Hey, worst case scenario, I'm pretty sure like half this room could be a family assistant or family helper, right? So you could make that look pretty awesome on a resume. I have had students I've worked with get like office jobs and jobs that they really wanted because they could put family assistant on their resume, AKA babysitting. But when they started to list out all the things they did, it actually looked really impressive. All right, how about you?
Music actor, businessman, and leader.
Wow, music actor, businessman, and leader. You got all three of them lined out there. How about you?
Airman.
Airman. Yes, we talked about Civil Air Patrol. Awesome. So you can put airman on there. That's fantastic. All right, what do you have?
I have leader in progress.
Leader in progress. I like that. That is a cool one. Very, very neat. What would you put under there as some of your...
Well, what I mean by that is that I'm a leader, but I would hear other people's ideas, so I wouldn't just do the whole entire thing by myself.
Love that.
Just let other people have an opinion and their voice be heard.
Mm-hmm. You get to really bring other people along for the ride.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, how about you?
A game entrepreneur.
Game entrepreneur, love it. You can do it. I'll come back. All right, what was your top experience that you put on your paper? Or that you can think of offhand? Favorite thing you've done in your life? I believe in you. Sports, awesome. Okay, so have you ever like given any encouragement or support to your team? All right, so sports team supporter or leader. There you go. All right, how about you? Something you've enjoyed in your life? Making paper airplanes, cool. What else? I'm coming to you next. Okay. Okay. A project you've done or a friend group activity you've participated in, anything at all? Okay, very cool. So I'm hearing some skills about persistence and engagement. Those could definitely go on a resume. All right, I'll take it. Thank you. All right, what about you?
Crew person.
Crew person, what does that mean?
Like I do a bunch of backstage stuff.
Backstage stuff, very cool. Crew person, I like it. All right, this table. You.
If I'm motivated or inspired, I like to assist the cause that I'm doing or helping with. I like to be creative and I love to do art and crafts and all that stuff because it just shows like what you can like prove to yourself and the other person that hey, I can do this. And then I like encouraging people because without encouraging words,
Very cool. I love the creativity in your title. So cause assistant, encourager, and creative. Those could all go on a resume, absolutely. All right.
I've talked a lot. You should ask her.
Okay, you did come up front and give us yours, so yes.
I'm a leader, so I like to take in everyone's ideas and make sure that they follow through with the rest of the class.
Okay, so leader and maybe motivator. Awesome. How about you?
Businessman and family helper.
Businessman and family helper. Awesome. Did we get this table? I don't think we did. You came up. What about you?
Musician.
Musician. Awesome. Love it.
Musician and I play sports.
Musician and sports. Very cool. You have two more.
Artist and athlete.
Artist and athlete. Awesome. That's fantastic. All right. What did you come up with?
Sportsman.
Sportsman. Like it.
It's nurse. I don't know.
Nurse. Okay. Awesome. Or so again, it's important to represent ourselves accurately, and nurse has a very specific connotation. So you could talk about in what context have you helped, like with.
Well,
like looking over the jobs or so I've noticed that I've done a lot of things with people, and that overall I think I'm pretty good with people and doing that. And I also love blood, so and
Cool.
science and stuff. So
Awesome.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love that that's what you came up with. So if you're thinking, if you've had experience doing first aid or anything like that, you could definitely put first aid on a resume, or caregiver, thank you. Yes, caregiver is awesome. It's a great one. All right, what about you? Photography, awesome. So photographer can go, yes. What's that? Hard worker? Cool, I love that. So here's the thing, when you're first putting together a resume, like we're thinking creatively and we're thinking outside the box, it's also awesome to put things that show that you're creative. Like just put hard worker on there and demonstrate that. Leader in progress, I think, was amazing. And then list all the things you've done that demonstrate your leadership. These are great ideas. All right, how about you? Commitment and persistence, very cool.
Professional athlete.
Professional athlete, very cool. Housekeeper, artist, and what?
Author.
Author, very nice. Being an athlete, awesome. Okay, did I miss anybody? They're like, come back into you. What did you end up with?
A stage manager.
Stage manager, awesome. Very, very cool. Okay, so who here thinks now that they have more experience, more work and professional experience than you thought you had an hour and a half ago? Yes? Hopefully? Did you learn something about your experience? Come on, guys. Yes, I just heard every single one of you tell me experience you have that you could put on a resume when at the beginning of this session, 2 people raised their hands when I asked if they've had a job or work experience. All right? So I'd say we've come a long ways. So as we wrap up here, let's just review. So first of all, when you're thinking about the future, when you're thinking about the job, what are the 2 questions we're going to ask?
Why and where?
Why and where, right? Or where and why. Where are we going? Why is it important? When you get stuck or you don't know where to go or you lose sight of those, what can you do?
Go back.
Stop and go back and say, what have I learned from the experiences I've had? Now, as you move ahead, how many of you guys might consider looking for a summer job? Okay, so this hopefully was a very helpful session, right? Because now you guys have what it takes. Take this with you. And the last thing, the last little section that we didn't get to is called the locked door exercise. This means that at some point, maybe after finals are done and you're thinking about jobs, you go into a room by yourself or maybe go with a friend who knows you well, who can help you brainstorm and think creatively. Google resume templates, find one you like, and then use this document that we just did to think creatively about your experience and put together an awesome resume. I can guarantee you if you are 13, 14, or 15 years old and you're applying for jobs that will accept applications at that age, or even if you're just going to your neighbors and saying, I'd like to do some yard work for you, here's my resume. 100% guarantee you're gonna stand out from the other people who are coming by asking to mow their yard, right? Or who are applying for the job that you want, or who are babysitting their kids over the summer. So as we wrap up, what is the biggest thing that you guys have learned tonight? Yes?
It's not as big as you think it is.
It's not as big as you think it is. How does that feel, realizing that?
That was really great.
Good, because you're a senior, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, one step at a time.
Yes.
All right, who else? Something you've learned. Anything at all. All right, I'm gonna call on Olivia's friends because Olivia has talked a lot. What did you learn?
Much more potential.
Much more potential, awesome, love it. How about you?
Me?
Yes,
Not much.
not much? You just,
Working on this stuff for a while.
perfect, a man who knows where he's headed. You can help some of the rest of the people figure out where they're headed too, okay? All right, anyone else? What did you learn? All right, well, here's the takeaway, right? No matter what you do, no matter where you're headed, start with intentionality, start with a plan. A plan doesn't have to be much. At the very least, start with why and where, and keep those in front of you and find ways to go back to that time and time and time again. And as you do that, you're going to find ways to succeed. I 100% believe in you. You guys are an amazing group of young professionals who have some incredible experience, as we just learned tonight. So have fun highlighting it and demonstrating it and showing it to the world. Yes?
I learned to have beginning in mind. No, having the end in mind.
You learned how to have the end in mind at the beginning.
To think about our future and what we're going to be doing. Like what we're going to be in, grow up and everything, and we're learning life lessons.
I love that. Thank you. So learning to begin with the end in mind and think about where you're headed for the future. And I guarantee if you do that, it's not going to be easy. There will be ups and downs, but you're much more likely to get where you're going if you know where you're headed when you get started. All right? Thank you, guys. Yes?
I would highly suggest that they write down, like, from here on, anything you do. That you can, when you fulfill this job or whatever, you have it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Start writing now that you've had this experience. Anytime you have a new experience, business or job or volunteer, write that down as well. That's a great idea. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you, Brittany, once again. Another amazing session, and we appreciate you coming out.